Here we have another special rarity. This is also a piece that I've kept for years. This is an early Florida slant link that was originally a 4-star, and I restored it, marinated so to speak, to a 97 tip. A lot of these, most if not all of the slants have a rather concave or uneven table, which leads to reed warpage. So basically the table's like, has they call it like a lake in the middle, it's concave. So when you put your reed on there, if you were to check if it was wet, for example, you would see the 4 corners, the 2 sides, front and back of the table would be hitting the reed, and nothing in the middle really would. And people are comfortable enough to say, well, just tighten the ligature down, squeeze it, it'll seal okay. Well, that's all fine and good, but what happens is as your reed gets wet, it starts to warp. And then, number one, it won't play on any other mouthpiece, and second of all, it stops playing well on this one after maybe 20 minutes. That's kind of what happens. The concave tables, they never work out in the long run. It's sort of like a Vegas wedding. It's good for a few minutes. Anyway, so normally with a small size like a 4-star, people would grind the table down to flatten it. I mean, with any size, they would grind the table to flatten it if they flatten it at all, which plenty of people who so-called masters of mouthpiece work don't even bother to do the right stuff. But you should have a flat table. And very often they would sand it down to have a flat table. But when you have a small size, you don't want to lose any size on the table. So it can be quite troublesome. If they take it down too far and then they want to open up the tip, they're going to end up shortening the mouthpiece. Which again, plenty of very important refacers don't mind doing that. They'll just shorten the piece and you'll never know the difference. But it will never play the same because the length from the tip to the start of the chamber, that is a big defining point in how the mouthpiece plays and sounds. So once you start shortening them, they're not even the same thing at all as they ever were. So in this case, I kind of went overboard, and what I did was I actually filled the table. So it has the original table and it's filled and it's perfectly level, and then I opened it to 97 and it plays killer. I finished up the tip in the exact configuration and style of original Otto link of this period. I mean, if you looked at it, you can barely tell the difference. It has no added baffle. It's exactly as an early Florida should play. So I'm going to put it on this 70,000 count red Hastings tenor. And this isn't a really bright mouthpiece. It's exactly as a slant should go at this period. Early Florida slant. mouthpiece is tight and compact. There it is. Early '97 Florida Slant.